I'm Ken Rosenthal with your American League East preview. Pleased to be joined by the skipper, Kevin Kennedy. Kevin, let's start with the Red Sox.
All right.
They've added Carl Crawford. They've added Adrian Gonzalez. They've added Bobby Jenks, other relievers. Are they the team to beat?
I think it goes through Boston in the East this year. I mean, if they were healthy last year, I felt like they would win either the wild card spot or the division had they stayed healthy all season long. We know how it had ended up, Tampa Bay and then New York winning the wild card. I tell you, with that pitching staff they have, Lester coming into his own, Josh Beckett I think will rebound strongly. Lackey looks better. He's thinner. He looks better as well. The bullpen's upgraded. The offense you're talking about, forget about it. Two guys that can steal 70 bases in Ellsbury being healthy and Crawford. And Gonzalez, good news that he's getting back, swinging pretty well already. They are if they're healthy, they're the team to beat.
I love the Red Sox. I can't wait to watch them offensively in particular, but I am worried about their rotation. Beckett, Lackey, Matsuzaka. Those guys, each of them can win 17 games. Each of them can implode. We've seen that from each in the last couple of years. So really, that is still a question. And if those guys aren't good, Kevin, basically they're in the same position that the Yankees are in from a starting rotation standpoint. So that's where my concern is with Boston. Now, let's get to the Yankees. No Cliff Lee, no Andy Pettitte. Do they have enough pitching to compete?
I think they do. I think they do have enough pitching. I think A.J. Burnett will get it figured out with Larry Rothschild. I really do. And I've watched his starts in the spring, at least a couple of them. He's still a little bit rotational, swiveling that front leg and not really leading with the hips and getting that closure that you need from the left side. But he's working on it, and that's the good news. We know when he pitches well, he's got no-hit type stuff. He really does. 2 years ago, I saw him pitch against Tampa Bay. Couple of times he was throwing a two-hitter and lights out with the fastball. Curve was off the table. But repeatable delivery has been the question for him, no doubt about that. CeCe's lost weight. He's going to be fine. He's going to win 19 or 20 again with that offense that they have. And I just feel the Yankees are so, right now they're playing the underdog role. I use the term don't sleep on them a lot. I don't think anybody's going to sleep on New York, but they're playing that role nicely right now because everybody is picking the Red Sox. So I would not forget about the Yankees. And listen, they didn't get the starter you're talking about. You're absolutely right. But at the back end, there's two ways to do it. They improved their bullpen. You got a closer down there in Soriano that was lights out last year, and he throws strikes, getting the ball to Mariano Rivera, which will help Mariano. Hopefully, Joe Girardi, you won't have to use him as many times in the eighth inning as you have your first 2 years in New York. So I think that's the good news.
Kevin, here's the thing. On August 1st, the Yankee rotation is not going to be the Yankee rotation that it is on April 1st. Now, I don't know who is coming, whether it's Felix Hernandez, Francisco Liriano, or whether it's the kid, Manny Banuelos, who's had such a great spring, 20 years old. But the Yankees are going to do something, probably more than one thing, whether it's a trade, a promotion, or something. They are going to improve that rotation. To me, as you said, Burnett is an absolute key. If he is not right, then they're in trouble. Now, the third team in the division is the one that won the division 2 of the last 3 years, the Tampa Bay Rays. We all know that they're not the same. They lost their entire bullpen. They lost Pena. They lost Garza. They lost Carl Crawford. Can they compete?
I have such respect for that organization and what Andrew Friedman and his baseball people around him have done. Obviously, Joe Maddon still keeps it loose. He knows that they can't play with pressure. It's not a pressure organization to ask for those young guys that have to step up. That being said, I think the key was if they had not gotten Johnny Damon, Manny Ramirez, I think for that club, this point in time in both of their careers, it's a tremendous move. You got Johnny probably hitting 2 in front of Longoria. You got Manny hitting 4 behind Longoria. In all honesty, Evan just didn't have any help behind him last year. Carlos Pena had a tough year with the bat. We know that. They were mixing and matching a lot in that 4 spot. Sometimes they moved Carl Crawford to the 3 spot and Evan to the 4 spot. I mean, that was fine at the end of the day, but I think having 2 veterans around a lot of those guys with the guys they lost, that's huge. I think they can compete, and let's not forget, you've said this many times, I know, I believe this, the pitching rotation, 1 through 5, they can match up against anybody in baseball, not just the American League East. The biggest question, who's going to close? Because the difference last year for the Rays versus 09 when I worked with them was that they didn't have a bona fide closer in 09. Last year they were locked down in the 8th inning with Benoit and locked down in the 9th inning with Soriano.
The question to me is that bullpen, as you say. And it's not just the closer. They need to replace basically their entire bullpen from last year. They lost 5 guys, and all of them were quality. So that is going to be a season-long project, and it's not going to be an easy one by any stretch of the imagination. But, as Kevin said, the offense with Manny and Damon should be as good, if not better, than it has been in the past. And yes, the rotation is going to keep them competitive. So they've got really 3 of the 4 areas covered because
Yep.
defensively they're outstanding as
They
well.
are. Yep.
So with defense, offense, and the rotation, that should be good enough to be a good team. Can they be what they've been? I would tend to doubt it. But as Carlos Pena told me, they are magicians over there in terms of putting a team together.
They'll find a way.
I don't rule them out.
They'll find a way.
All right, Kevin, great stuff as always. Don't forget to keep it logged on to foxsports.com for all your baseball needs. For Kevin Kennedy, I'm Ken Rosenthal.